Right. Welcome back to the LKMT campaign. Last time, we were invaded by the Guominjun and successfully managed to capitulate them, as well as the Fengtians, who I've managed to hold off for now. For now, because I know that if I go too deep into their territory, they'll call Japan in, who's also starting to prepare international stuff. Which is not good. It's not a good sign, that's for sure. The war between these two is ongoing, although it looks like the right KMT are going to fall soon. There's also the Federalists over here who are vaguely threatening, so I've been putting my second army that I've been building up against their border. Hopefully I'll have enough troops out in time. Still having some issues with artillery, but by now I should have enough production to keep up with my needs. For the time being. I've also started building up an air force. And just completed the second repatriated Congress. So now I can get to work fixing up my national economy. Actually, I think pursuing the people's welfare would be better, because it would get the same effect. Keep going down this route. Will give me just a bit more stability. And this will give me political power, though then again, reconstruction decisions. Yeah, let's go for a reconstruction decision so that I know what I have available to me. I just need to let them sit here and wait. Slowly let them eat away at their own equipment by attacking me, or lack supply. While I build up my own economy, which I'm going to need. Especially once I get rid of the devastated national economy debuff. Which is contributing 15% of my 39%. So, that's steadily reducing construction speed and factory output. And worsening political power gains. Minimizing that would be helpful. Don't need that constantly active. The cult of the chairman. Throughout history, particularly in times of great strife, people have often clung to the mythos of a strong man. A powerful, visionary leader capable of protecting the common person and saving the nation. And in the new China being born, that leader might just be Wang Jingwei. Handsome, charismatic, and well-educated, Wang is a natural leader. He has been a revolutionary since before even Xinhai, risking his life in a daring assassination attempt against the Qing regent. A popular myth is that he was saved from execution because he caught the eye of a Manchu noblewoman. Wang, as the party machine cries, was the man who has led the party through thick and thin, through the ignominious exile and then sweeping into national leadership. Wang is the heroic Democrat who will fulfill the democratic promises of the Xinhai Revolution. Wang is the statesman capable of uniting the party's warring faction, healing rifts within the KMT, and also building bridges with the outside world. He is the revolutionary with a vision, the man who can truly build an egalitarian and free and prosperous China. He is the man, the leader who will unite China, cast out imperialists and warlords, and end the humiliations. Wang himself has sought to maintain a humble image in public. A portrait of Sun Yat-sen was hung over Tiananmen Gate, looking over the square. He was sure to be there for the dedication speech, delivering an emotional address honoring the party's eternal premier. Sun Fo, however, has lashed back in whatever publications he could find willing to defy the chairman's authority. Hoping to stop or at least stall Wang's efforts to incorporate himself into the broader Sun Yat-sen personality cult mythos, he has written a series of publications leveraging his claimed status as the expert on his father's work. He argues that the late party's legacy was not Marxist, and has been sure to include multiple snide remarks about Wang. His damning words were calculated to just barely skirt the line of the censors, and has already started a political firestorm. Ah, the 14th Dalai Lama. Hmm. Right, the question is, should there be an agreement between General Deng Yanda and Dai Li? How bad is radicalism? Okay, so it's fine. Shoving me closer and further ahead is going to be somewhat more important, especially since there will be plenty of opportunities to reduce party radicalism. Opium has long been a plague on the nation, and in many ways a symbol of the degeneration of the once proud Chinese nation. Like an addict who fell from grace, China was brought low by the mass addiction pressed onto it by unscrupulous foreign capitalists and their imperialist backers. Now, if the KMT is to save the nation's soul, they must heal the corruption at its source. With many warlords, officials, and unfortunately even socialists like us profiting off the trade, cracking down on it has been a tall order. It is a ready source of profit, despite the human cost involved, and plenty of other narcotics have flown into the nation in the meanwhile. Bureaus, agencies, and non-governmental reformers have all tried with no avail. Though with our recent consolidation of control, there is hope for genuine change this time. To stop it, a series of wide-reaching proposals have been presented by various legal, medical, and social experts. These include various rehabilitation policies, harsh arrests and punishment of dealers, and aggressive targeting of opium-producing regions for destruction or replanting. On the flip side, however, it is possible that a government-run monopoly on these special goods might be what is actually needed at the moment for the revolutionary government to decide. Whatever it is decided, it will likely be at least a decade before opium is eradicated. It's a medical issue to be treated. Laws are useless when men are pure, unenforceable when men are corrupt. The KMT's involvement with the underground is a complex affair, but certainly not a static one. While nationalist gangs were a major help across the decades, providing Republican causes both shelter and funding during their most dire needs, they have also been a parasitic influence as the party rises again. Now that the party has successfully united the nation, their former allies have come forward to collect. It is not always a simple thing to differentiate crime gangs from revolutionary cells. They often share tactics such as extortion, secret gathering, and violence during revolutionary times. Many mobsters are sincere in their Republican outlook and have already been rewarded with local positions of power, posts that give them an air of legitimacy in their dealings. They burrow themselves into pillars of society, adapting to the post-revolutionary atmosphere. But the corruption, wheeling and dealing, and nepotism has undoubtedly have had a corrosive effect. There has to be a better way to put that sentence. Sullying our image as a force for a more egalitarian future. Of course, there are some that are straight-up criminals or opportunists, those who have been the primary target of recent anti-crime initiatives. But there is a call now to curb misconduct, expelling these unsavory elements with a broad brush. As our government expands, revolutionary enthusiasm has waned in favor of finding stability. Many fear that the party state's resistance to outside criticism leaves it vulnerable to institutionalized corruption and abuse. Defining the difference between a well-connected lower power holder and a nefarious mobster in a clean suit may very well make the difference in our nation's future. It is high time to excise those parasites. Wow, they're actually really far away from capitulating. You need their capital, don't you? Yeah, that's probably the only way they're gonna win. And possibly also Dali as well. The Hound has long slipped from its leash, a fact that many within the KMT leadership have come to regret. The NRA, a force designed specifically to protect the party from war and military control, has slowly developed a mind of its own, and rumors of military conspiracy swirl as each faction courts sympathetic officers. Right, so the question is, proactive measures to force things along, or just leave the nation, leave the NRA be? Reducing factionalism would actually be helpful. Well, radicalism. And boosting, well, it's a CSP radical fund. And, yeah. Let's get factionalism down. Probably the best way to handle this. And now I'm actually running out of political power. That's actually a pretty good sign. It indicates that things are going well. Focus on getting to there. Right, that little city right here, Tianjin, is now mine. Okay. If there's any silver lining to the mayhem and tragedy of war, it is when communities and nations grow closer together in solidarity. With so many lives uprooted thanks to war and revolution, oftentimes government initiatives are simply not enough to help the suffering. With the magistrates overwhelmed, there is often room for humble heroes to lend a helping hand. Song Qingling, the widow of Sun Yat-sen, has entered the national spotlight with their numerous charitable efforts. As president of the China Welfare Foundation, founded initially as the China Defense League, they have raised money from foreign aid and private donations to support a wide range of causes, including refugee relief, medical supplies, and care for orphans. Led primarily, it's primarily, by the Song and Liao families, it's just a misspelling. They owe their prominence in part due to their connections with the CEC and also favorable press coverage by figures such as Edgar Snow. Unfortunately, although few would like to publicly admit it, charity is often another weapon of war. The party has exploited in the past its concern for the poor as a propaganda tool against warlord governments. Even organizations ostensibly neutral have often have party members strategically placed on their boards, including the Red Cross Society of China. Partisans affiliated with the PAC have taken the opportunity to cast Song, and to a lesser extent He Xinying, as a marked contrast with the First Lady Chen Bijon, as perhaps the two most prominent women in the nation. While both come from wealthy merchant families and are longtime revolutionaries, Chen has been depicted by PAC-aligned papers as a scheming and Machiavellian shrew, obsessed more with power than helping the people. Wang has angrily demanded censors quickly remove such publications, and Song has disavowed any such unity, but the smear campaign is likely to create a lasting enmity between the factions. Continue moving the balance of power leftwards. Let's give this one a dark blue color. Unfortunate symbol rather than shield. Might be enough to capitulate. Who knows? Yep, it was. That gets rid of a lot of troops, and I can start focusing on moving forwards. To a much greater degree than I was before. Because there are a lot less troops to fight. And more military factories to me. It must be almost at quick capitulation. Have to be. Yep, there it is. Question is, how many points does... Oh, so I get fewer points. Okay. That's everything. That's a massive front line, though. Probably have about the same number of divisions as I did. Thing is, they'll be focused on coring this stuff, so I should focus on this southern section. As much of it as I can. Still remaining reasonable. It won't contribute to the war score until it's all been cored. Demand their submission and see where things go from there. The Military Affairs Commission, MAC, was originally founded in Guangzhou as a means of overseeing, supervising, and managing the National Revolutionary Army in its infancy. Originally with 64 members, Dr. Sun reduced it to 26, and by the time he died, it reduced to a board consisting of Wang Jingwei, Xu Chongxi, Liao Zongkai, Hu Hanmin, Tan Yangkai, Chiang Kai-shek, Mikhail Borodin, and Wu Chaoshu. In the ensuing years or so, some of them will join the staff some others will join the staffs along with allied warlords. And the infighting among the MAC did little favors during the Northern Expedition, as Chiang attempted to strong-arm Wang into yielding chairmanship to him, charging Wang with incompetence in military affairs. Most of its old membership has since gone on, too. Tan and the warlords left, Hu and Xu were executed, Borodin recalled and replaced by Malroy. Xiang was killed in the expedition. Having recently been restored to coordinate the new NRA's activities, many fear a repeat of previous battles over control of the MAC. The military brass blame interference from civilians and outsiders in its failures, demanding only the president and senior commanders be appointed. This has been contested by those who believe the NRA must be held accountable, denouncing the independent streak Chiang encouraged, and insist on further civilian oversight by the Central Executive Committee. The United Front, with the backing of the MMIC, has also insisted on a fair say, complicating matters even further, insisting on LCS and advisor presence on the Commission. The situation on the ground demands, however, a decision must be made quickly about the size and makeup of the body. Broad scope of opinions is always useful. I can always do decisions to push the tilt in the direction I want it to. So. The KMT revolution has sparked discourse on a freer China, but not always favorably. Many intellectuals have noticed the dissonance between KMT promises and the party state's reality. Like flashes in the pan, most efforts to speak out have come to little except perhaps one. Initially proposed by left-leaning foreign journalists living in Shanghai, the China League of Civil Rights was formed in 1932 as a means of gathering liberal support for the Shanghai Uprising. This new line of action included creating a striking contrast between Zili oppression and KMT liberation. Their manifesto included 3 tenets: to liberate political prisoners, to give legal assistance to political prisoners, and to assist in the struggle for civil rights, including free organization, speech, press, and assembly. They have sought the attention of both liberals internationally and from the Beiyang establishment, though were not successful at freeing any prisoners. Wang was unamused when Song Qingling, Tsai Yuen-pai, and Yang Xingfo submitted a very public cablegram last month on behalf of the League to the CEC. The letter demanded the end of arbitrary arrests and was signed by dozens of prominent figures in the party, academia, and the press. Peril abounds, and there's doubts on its longevity. Already Song and Tsai have been sternly warned for stepping outside the party orthodoxy, and anonymous death threats have come in, though their high rank protects them from any real harm. Others, however, not so much. Yang was gunned down in front of the Academia Sinica building yesterday afternoon, sending a chill through the League. The League has also staggered due to infighting. New culture figures like Hu Xi and Liu Yuntang had been reluctant to sign on unless the League commits to only using legal channels. Prior rivalries within the LCS has made the CSP hesitant to join the World Society in endorsing the League. Many of the original members have gone to the extremes, undermining Song and Tsai's authority. Ultimately, a rather elitist organization, it has also struggled to gain much popular support. Let's ensure it remains effective. Also running low on support equipment. I probably should start producing more. That's what I'll do with the new military factories I have to have. There we go. Excellent. Just got a lot of new military factories too. That should be fine on support equipment. Okay. I think this is a good point to stop for now. Right. So, let's see here. Is there anything interesting that I would like to do? It's probably the best one. I need more factories. So, managed to conquer all of southern China, though it's going to take time for everything to be cored and whatnot. A lot of time. However, it's a good first step. Absolutely. Yes. As for world events, the Second World War has begun. In every sense of the word, the Entente and Germany are fighting off the Internationale, and Russia's also attacking Germany. It does seem that the Internationale is successful against Portugal. The Danubian Federation hasn't actually done anything yet, though. They're still kind of sitting there. And the Third International is definitely losing against Germany. But once they deal with Lisbon, I figure they should be able to move troops over. Especially since, well, Russia's doing decently against the Reichspakt. Not amazingly so, because Estonia was part of the Moscow Accord. So was Latvia. And now, Lithuania. The Second American Civil War is almost over, and looks like the CSA is going to win. Fun stuff down here, we've got the Peru-Bolivian Confederation. with, well, an actual democracy. Versus the, well, Socialist Republic of Argentina and Syndicalist Chile. Fun stuff all around, you know? Liberia is actually doing a decent job of holding its own, surprisingly so. And the Ottomans seem to be sort of losing. Iran has had nothing to do with over here, interestingly enough. Oh, and India is doing its thing. Not sure who's going to win. Japan has invaded the Philippines. Broad Siam and are now busy with Germany, Asia. Eventually probably Insulindia as well. Possibly also Australasia. Who ended up getting hit by the Guard coup. After compromising with Labour. Yeah, that probably had something to do with it. So all threats to the south are gone. Or at least all direct threats. I'm gonna have to fight Siam eventually, because Japan. Eventually I'm going to need to take on actually push into Fengtian. Thankfully Burma is independent for the time being. I don't think they're going to join the co-prosperity sphere. Oh, and Transamoa is also making a mess in Siberia, in case anyone's wondering about that. Canada also tried intervening in the American Civil War, but got promptly kicked out. Yeah. It's going to take time to integrate all the new provinces, but I'm sure things will go well. Although I am going to have to set up some new garrisons, yeah. The next set should be through eventually, though I'm going to need more support equipment. Absolutely going to need more support equipment. Okay. But things are going reasonably well. I've started going down tank technology. I've been working on getting more rubber. Since that seems to be... it seems like it's going to be a perpetual problem. But yeah, not much more to say for now. Xinjiang is also falling to Tibet and Mongolia. Apparently the two have a pact. There is one last thing to say. There's also the natural reconstruction, which I'm having difficulty finishing anytime soon because of the number of factories. Getting to 80 is difficult, to say the least. I'm hoping I can get enough political power soon enough in order to delay it again. But I'm uncertain if I'm going to be able to get that. Oh well. I'm eventually going to have to actually deal with Fengtian, that's for sure. But I need more time to set up for Japan because they're absolutely dangerous. But they're busy with the Reichspakt too, and they're going to be for a while. But once they're no longer busy, it's definitely... they're either going to focus on getting new allies, like Burma, or they're going to go ahead and just try to destroy me as soon as possible. probably should check on their focus tree. Divide and conquer. Yikes. Yeah, it's not a good sign. Right. But that's enough for me. I'll see you again next time. Until then, bye.